The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Now broadcasting from the Right to Offend Media Studios in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, art, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report Live with Sam Whitfield.
But giving offense is good. In fact, it's essential.
You know, that speech from Brennan O'Neill there, I've actually sent that around to a few people because it's a really good speech, actually.
You know,
Like,
Sam,
I
was just, as that was playing, thinking to myself, I saw something this week that reminded me of that, and I'm going to have to bring it up and show you. Did you see the thing, Mr. Bean, the comedian?
Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah, Rowan Atkinson. He gave a speech about the right to offend. It was really good. In lieu of the police in England arresting people for tweets and things, and he really laid into him for it. It's pretty cool.
Good. No, I'm glad because
awesome.
Like as much as Americans like to crap on the British, like I do know some based Brits, as do you, I know, and it is kind of sad that like Great Britain, the mighty empire of the world once, is now ruled by PC tyrants.
Yeah, and invaded completely by foreign cultures.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it'd be a hop, skip, and a jump here to try all this stuff with us too.
Yeah. Well, we've already got one crazy lady who's and her apparatus is trying their damnedest to do all that here. And if you don't think it's possible, then I guess you're naive. But that's not this.
Unfortunately, it's definitely possible.
That's not this audience.
They don't spring a trap until it's fucking set,
Yeah.
So by the time you fall into said trap, it's too late.
Yeah, that's how stuff goes.
That's why it's a trap. Voting for Kamala is a trap to giving up your rights and sovereignty as a human being.
Which by the way, like I am a little annoyed. Actually, I'm really annoyed at kind of like right-wing Twitter today, because I don't know if it's just me, but like I see a lot of conservatives like tweeting about how oh my God, Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala, and I'm over here like,
did she officially? Because I mean, it was obvious, right, that she was going to do that.
Well, yeah, and that's
celebrity endorsed Democrat. Imagine that.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I'm like, wow, the corpo made
water is wet.
The corpo made singer made the most corpo supported the most corpo candidate and did the most corpo thing. Shocker. And this is what, like, I'll tell you what, this is why the left like laughs at conservatives, because they do dumb stuff like this. There's so much that like you could be talking about with the debate, but yet no, let's focus on the fact that Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala.
The most meaningless endorsement you could possibly get is a pop singer.
Yeah. But speaking of,
like nobody clamored. Now, Michael Jackson, you say what you want about him now. At his peak was way bigger deal than Taylor Swift ever has been.
Oh, yeah.
Did anybody ever ask him who he endorsed for president or give a shit?
I don't think so.
Prince, let's name pop singers of the era of the day. Why is this a thing now that people care about? So let me ask this to the Swifties out there that are convinced by whoever she tells you to vote for. What credentials does she have to make you think that she's a good person to take that advice from?
Because
does she write songs about ex-boyfriends and stuff?
Yeah, that's her whole.
All right.
That's
I've heard her music. It's not very good.
Well, there's like this weird, oh my God, she's
celebrity worship culture.
Yeah, it's a.
But that's always been there. It's different now. That celebrity.
Yeah,
I mean, there were
the fucking lefties are goddamn nuts.
Yeah, because like you look at Ricky Nelson, famously one of the first like teen idols of television, killed himself right from the pressure. Danny Bonaducci, go on and on with the child's. Hey, they want a free Palestine.
Former Disney star that the fucking train wreck is a thing for a reason.
I had a joke. Now it's ruined. You know how hard it is being retarded and writing a joke? Sorry, Sam. Go on.
Listen, I just want to make sure that Maxine isn't gonna like throw.
She's too busy laughing.
I want to make sure that like Maxine isn't gonna throw stuff at you.
No. She's just embarrassed by me.
Maxine, just hide the body.
No, I'm saying they all want to talk about freeing Palestine, right? But what happened when they freed Britney?
Oof. Yeah, that's a good. You know what? That's actually like a really good
Leave
point.
Britney alone.
No, it was hashtag free Britney, right? We got to get Britney free. It's the most important thing. Just like it's free Palestine is now. Except look at the results of freeing Britney. Everybody like her little erotic knife dances? Or her abandonment of her children?
Not me.
Nope.
Very freeing. Very liberating for Miss Spears.
But I know that there are some sickos out there who are, willing to go along with whatever. Anyway, Morpheus, welcome back from your undisclosed location, I guess, or
Oh yeah, he went to the moon to fight Nazis.
Yep.
Based?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I heard that along I heard that while he was fighting Nazis on the moon, he also picked up some coffee from our good friends at 1775 Coffee, who are not like sponsoring us this week because they're not in the ad queue. So in fact, we don't have any ads showing up. Yeah, Morpheus.
There's been some issues with that shit for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I ended up getting the premium pea berry coffee, and literally came in the mail yesterday after I had my incident, got rushed to the hospital, and the day after I get out of the hospital, coffee arrives, and it's some of the smoothest coffee I've ever tasted.
So you ended up in the hospital due to your brush with those Nazis on the moon?
Yes, they damn near got me.
Well, that's impressive, honestly. Peaberry. So I know what a pea is.
Basically,
I know what a berry is.
Basically, my is the normal coffee bean, but it grows slightly different. And it results in a different flavor, different aromas. It's pretty fantastic, honestly.
Fair enough. It's a pretty funny name.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And if you drink coffee for the acidic, harsh taste, you're not gonna like it because there is absolute zero acidity to this coffee.
Well, here next, it's gonna be the new flavor will be Pooh Berry, and we'll be getting that soon. And that's really acidic and kind of stinky.
The most acidic.
Okay, then that was actually good. That was actually good. That was a good one, Max. I'm not gonna lie. No, though, I actually like. I have to put cream and honey in my coffee because of how acidic most of it is. So
yeah, I'm normally a cream and sugar type of guy, and occasionally I'll go with flavored coffee or flavored creamer. And literally, I haven't. The last time I drank black coffee was early more with my grandpa, literally spoon feeding me coffee in my early, probably like before my even teens. And I was just downing this coffee this afternoon. No anything in it. It was fantastic.
So because you're amped up, do you have a more rant for us? I mean, I feel like with all that coffee you drank and due to your absence, like I would imagine you would have a lot.
He's trying to milk you for content, is what he's saying.
Of stuff.
Are you trying to milk me for sustenance, Sam?
No, I'm just giving you I'm just giving you room to, like, you know, speak your mind.
I love throwing him off, man. Sam, it's the best thing in the world is to say something that you're like clearly know isn't true, but you worry that people might think that it is, because then you're just like, but not really though.
Well, I mean, what? I mean,
that's
listen,
my favorite reaction that you give me.
What if I had just said yes?
I'd be thrown off. To be honest with you, if you just went along with one of these stupid things I say one time, I wouldn't know what to do.
Tipples.
Titty nipples. Yes.
They titted my tipples.
Sam, I managed to, I'm pretty sure, fully cast stripper chick.
Oh, goody. Shall we explain to the audience what stripper chick is? I don't think we have.
Yeah, so I wrote a stupid audio superhero comedy parody type deal. And it's going to become a thing because magic?
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I
as far as hashtag Mort Rant, not currently, but who knows?
See where the night takes me.
I mean, Max and I watched the debate.
Fuck Brian Krasenstein?
Yes.
There you go. Let's get him on. Have Mort just scream at, and then me and Sam could just mute and just sit here and be like, yeah.
Well, listen. Like, I actually. Like, Brian Krasenstein does follow me still. I know he knows who I am.
And he keeps ducking Mort. You know what's up with that, Brian Krasenstein? What are you?
Let's go,
pussy?
bitch. Let's fucking debate.
There he is.
You afraid of a guy in a wheelchair?
Apparently, yes.
Brian Krasenstein is afraid of a couple of cripples.
A couple of cripples and a retard. Go figure.
Apparently, yes, because well,
Sam
he
would absolutely shut up and just let you, like, right, Sam? Like, if he got his opportunity to just yell at Brian Krasenstein, you and I would just sit there, right? Because it'd be too entertaining.
Yeah, the only thing I would do is like I would say like, okay, more like you have to let him get at least like 5 words in, like he has to be able to like put up some of a
No. You don't like a good tomato can fight, Sam?
Well, I mean, like, look,
that's an old boxing term for the audience. A tomato can, it's like a jobber in wrestling, right? Is a guy that's like, except they're not paying him to lose like in wrestling, but he's gonna lose because the other guy is way better than him, and it's just to show off to the crowd that guy's the star. That's what it would be, is a tomato can fight. At least, it'll be fun to watch.
Well, the Krasensteins, I feel like, are just jobbers on X in general. Like,
they're jobbers at life. Have you seen like their actual history?
No, because
you remember when they had to pretend to be their mom to be on Twitter? You remember that, Sam?
No, I actually don't know. I actually don't know much about their history. I literally know.
Yeah, they got banned on Twitter back in like I think it was 2015, and they created an account that was supposedly their mom so that they could use Twitter. And they were that account was one of Trump's biggest like reply guy accounts. It was supposedly the Krasenstein's mom, but it was just them. That's what they're famous for, is they reply guide to every tweet Trump ever made. And then when they got banned, they had to make mommies had to make them an account so they could keep being reply guys. Imagine being that much of a loser, Sam.
If my account ever gets banned from Twitter, I'm done with Twitter. I'm not making another account.
Well, they didn't. They had mom do it.
That's a bitch move. Fucking pussies.
Mommy will bail them out.
See, and like I only know who they were because like literally well, you were there, Max. So like at the time, friend of the show, Genius Anus, like got into like a hangout space with them and was actually like talking to them. And so like just out of curiosity, like I clicked on that space and like then I was like super curious and talked to them, and like Brian actually at the time like was fairly distant to me, and everyone, like I think even you, Max, basically said
nice
like
to you, Sam.
Like, holy shit. I think you said something like, Sam, you basically went up to the equipment like saying it had like a polite conversation with him or something like that. So
oh, and don't get me wrong, it would be a polite conversation on the show, but I'd fucking destroy the piece of shit.
Well, I imagine how that would go is like he would. I imagine in all seriousness that he would actually like come up with an excuse to like leave or something like that if he had to debate. If he had to debate you, because they can't actually like
they can't
even
engage in good faith.
Yeah, well, they can't even answer simple questions like,
why did you touch all those children? No, sorry, never mind. Go ahead.
No, like what, like, you know, one of the things that he tweeted out this morning was,
why is it a shit policy when Trump says it, but as soon as fucking Kamala fucking steals it, it's fucking greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah,
I suffer for my art.
Did she throw something at you?
Yeah, right between the eyes. It was a Lego.
Oh, well, like
At least you
those.
didn't step on it.
Look. I'm used to being heckled, right? People just don't understand comedy. Okay.
A fucking Lego down, Maxine? Come on, that's a little
The
harsh.
worst part isn't getting it thrown at you. The worst part is stepping on it later.
Oh God, that is true. So or crawling on one accidentally.
I
As I've
actually,
done.
besides me being, stupid, oh no, I closed it. Never mind. Forget I said anything, Sam. I was gonna say I
Well,
got that link that I was talking about with the Rowan Atkinson speech, but I closed it. So give me a second on that.
well, I mean, so like I guess my thing is like more this
There you go. I got it.
you were not on the panel last night, but like from your tweets, it looked like you watched the debate, and so like I don't know, what were your thoughts on last night?
These fucking Democrats are really, really committing to this equity over fucking equality bullshit. It's pissing me off.
Right. Well, we all have to end up at the same place, obviously.
Okay,
Yeah.
then all of these Democrats need to shut the fuck up, put on their big boy and big girl plans, and end up in that place before we do. Put up or shut up.
Well, like what I want to know is like who are all these undecided voters that they bring up, because like
The illegals that
Liars.
they're in.
They're like, I can be on TV. Yeah, I'm undecided as fuck.
yeah. Well, like those are
Like
the
I say,
people.
I said last night, and I stand by it. The Kamala people I've seen all day have been blowing smoke up her ass. Girlfriend, she done won. And all the Trump people are like, oh, he kicked her ass. I don't think it changed any votes, just like I said. I don't think anybody was going to be like,
Does it ever?
yeah, I don't think anybody was going to be like, oh, she said that January 6th was worse than September 11th in Pearl Harbor. I'm voting for her now. Likewise, I don't think anybody was like, oh, wow, I'm going to vote for Trump now, even though I've hated him for the last 10 years or whatever.
Well, I think the other thing too is like everyone's been talking like how biased ABC was, but like that's not shocking
That's par
at
for the
all.
goddamn course. Par for
Yeah,
the course
like
at this point.
yeah, like that's one thing that I was texting with my friend Jason, who was on a few weeks ago, and he and I were saying like we've been talking like media bias on each of our shows,
For a
for
decade.
years. Like I've been going off about that since like 2010 basically.
No, there's no bias, Sam. What it is that you and everybody else who's not far left are just racist hate speech.
Well, okay. So like I actually learned something today, which was I guess it's been revealed that one of the moderators, the female moderator in last night's debate, is
Shoulder pads, right?
yeah, shoulder
Okay.
pads, as you called her last night. It's been revealed that like she's Kamala Harris's sorority sister. So
Shocker.
Explains the shoulder pads.
yeah,
They
what
also
do you,
probably wear knee pads, if you know what I mean, Sam.
well, I mean, they're sorority
I mean,
girls.
ask Willie Brown about that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're both sorority girls, so like clearly that's
Speaking
like
of which, did we ever get an answer? Last night's question was who could suck more dick in a competition, Taylor Swift or Kamala Harris? Did we ever come to a conclusion there?
I mean, like we have Morpheus here now, so I would say Kamala, but like,
Well,
that's
I feel like Kamala would be more efficient with her time with the dick
Kamala
sucking.
would be more efficient, but I'm sure good brother Max would agree with me. There's a little bit of a history with musicians and casting couches and all this other happy shit. So I'm
yeah.
gonna go with T
Oh
Swift.
yeah.
T
Okay,
Swift is
well
a
there
whore,
you have
period.
it,
End of
ladies and
story.
gentlemen. Taylor Swift can in fact suck more dick than Kamala Harris. Breaking news on the Whitfield Report.
Okay, now who would you rather, Kamala Harris or Taylor Swift?
I'd rather be a monk.
That's
I'm a married man, so neither.
okay. That's a good choice. I would say probably Taylor Swift.
If I have to
I mean,
choose,
oh
I'm
wow.
going Taylor Swift.
I'm sure that
but
was a difficult choice for you, Sam. I'm sure you had to think really hard about that.
No. I mean,
I would. If I can choose a third option, I'm going voluntarily celibate. I don't want to catch anything.
Fair enough.
if I could choose a third option, I'd rather go back to my ex who looked like Taylor Swift, and got mad at me because I never listened to any of her music. But that's another story for another time.
She makes music.
I've
you
got
were
this
famous for
relationship
breaking up guys.
with Rosie every couple of days.
So, well, I mean that's Taylor Swift's like main thing is breaking up with guys. So,
Oh, her side thing's music.
yeah.
Yes.
All right, that's cool.
She does the main thing, break up with guys, to facilitate the side thing.
Gotcha. So she's a gold digging whore, is what you're saying, Sam.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Taylor Swift, not dick sucking contest against Kamala Harris, but confirmed as a gold digging whore as well. Breaking here on the Whitfield Report Live.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how breaking that is. Anyone who knows anything knows that that's
We've
true.
confirmed it. That the suspicions have been around for years.
But we've confirmed
Pretty
it.
sure those have been around since what 2010 ish.
Kanye never should have let her finish. I'm saying.
Kanye, like him or not, actually has talent over Taylor Swift.
Probably. Was he good at checkers?
I mean,
he's a really good knitter.
Yes.
I mean, he's probably better than her at that.
He's the most successful proponent of anti-Semitic views I've ever seen. That's a talent. Yeah. And then he watched like a Jonah Goldberg movie or whatever and was like, sorry about that, Jews. My bad. You guys are funny.
Isn't it? Yeah. No, actually, that is a good point. He's the only guy I know who actually has been able to come back from somehow being anti-Semitic. So, and now
he said Hitler was a great person, and then he watched 21 Jump Street or one of them fucking terrible movies, and he's like, the Jewish guy's pretty funny. What's wrong about them?
Yeah, and that's the most disappointing thing is that it wasn't one of the good Jewish movies Mel Brooks or something like that. It was It was
Just
Jonah Hill.
trash. Yeah, Jonah Hill. That's what it was. Jonah Hill. It's just a trash throwaway movie that nobody else has ever given a shit about. And Kanye's like, man, this has changed my whole perspective on life. It's totally not the bipolar disorder.
Okay, Max. I actually did think about this a little bit, but like, hear me out. What if we got Kanye West and Dave? You're Dave Grady. What if we got them together and just like filmed
Dave,
the hijinks?
but Dave's not a gay fish.
Well, you know, that's true, but like, you know, I'm sure Dave. Well,
Also, I'm pretty sure Dave wouldn't fuck a hobbit. Now that I come to think about it.
yeah,
I don't know. Does she have small tits and a big bush and her fingernails painted to match her panties? Maybe then.
Well,
Dave has standards,
well,
unlike most of you.
I think Kim Kardashian actually has like she might. I've heard that Kim Kardashian like might actually paint her toenails or fingernails to like match her panties, but that's about it.
Who'd you hear that from, Sam?
TMZ or one of those. I don't know. Who knows?
That's why I was asking.
So,
but yeah, I sent that link on Twitter if you wanted to watch that. It's almost a good companion piece to the Brendan O'Neill speech in a way.
We might as well watch that since, like, you know, like
I meant final thought on the debate, Sam, is I imagine the polling's probably not going to change all that much.
Yeah. I mean, does this debate even matter? Probably not. Like I was actually wondering because like someone was actually saying that like, oh, there's gonna be a second debate. Why?
There was supposed to be 3. Joe agreed to 3. Kamala's saying that, oh, well, they already did one with Joe. Well, but that's not the same. Well, whatever. And they finally nailed it down to 2, but she's trying to weasel out of. She's trying to weasel out of both of them.
Okay. So here's one thing where I will give Trump like major credit for is that he basically did call Kamala out for like, you know, the fact that she is part of like the Biden administration because, you know, she was like trying to say that like, oh, I'm not Joe Biden, so you can't pin his policies on me. Yeah, but you're the VP. You're like, you know, you're supposedly like number 2.
I like the part where he called her a fat black bitch. Or did I just imagine that?
I think you just imagined that.
Oh, but well, it was awesome in my head, man.
But
and then everybody was cheering and going.
But one thing one thing that you did not imagine though is that he told her he literally did tell her to be quiet. I'm talking right now.
Yeah, I'm speaking. Sound familiar? Yeah, and the face she made too when he said that was like, "Ooh, you got me there. That was my good one." And he still even got to use it with the mute. She's strategy because of the muted microphones, and he managed to squeak it in. That was good stuff.
I will say this, like
if you're not heavily invested in Trump or Kamala, I don't even know if you would notice something like that. You know what I mean?
I will tell you this, like I'm not really shocked that the debate went the way it did though, because like I basically predicted that the media would have to fight Trump on Kamala's behalf because listen, Joe fucked up so bad in that first debate.
When doesn't the fucking media fight Trump?
Well, that's true too. But hear me out, Morpheus. Like, basically,
2014.
Yeah, 2014 or beyond, like prior to then, basically. But anyway, no, my debate prediction basically came true. I had said that, like, after the Biden debate, I had said that if there's like another one, whether it be Biden or Kamala, the media is basically going to run interference for the candidate and just debate Trump because they have to, so that they don't look like, I mean, the CNN debate was like, that was embarrassing for the Democrats.
Yeah,
So
he should moon them.
he might as well.
Yeah, like I would. That's about they show their ass every time they cover them. You might as well show them yours.
No, I'm serious. That would actually be like
That would be some rock star shit. Like he just mooned CNN. He got shot, Sam. He might as well, like, he's got fuck you money. He got shot. He might as well just moon somebody.
Yeah.
That's like, that's some bucket list shit right there. Like, be one of the most famous people in the world and then moon a journalist.
I love how they're trying to like memory hold the fact that he almost got assassinated. Max.
In fact, chat, audience, listeners, later on, we need to normalize mooning the media. Okay, we need to bring mooning journalists into fashion. Don't give them a statement. Don't troll them. Just show them your ass.
Will
That's what they're looking for anyway, Sam.
Probably.
Well, they want you to show your ass so they can put you on the news. So you just show them your ass.
Well, no one,
The only problem is so many of them are LGBTQ plus ANPLMNO that you can't leave your ass exposed for too long because they might come fuck it. But that's the risk you run.
That is all true. So
the risk you run when you're trying to, really, really stick it to the media is that they might come fuck you in the ass. Like, look, journalists are scum. They can't help themselves from doing shit like that, right? They see a body, they have to run right over to the body and take a picture. They see an ass exposed, they have to go run right over and stick their dick in it. They can't. They're not like humans, like you and I, Sam. Journalists are actually more like insects, and they run on instinct. Did you know this? They actually have a thorax.
Yes. I do.
Yeah, they have a thorax. Did you know that? Journalist. That's how you can tell they're going to grow up to be a journalist. If a kid's born with a thorax, he's going to be a journalist.
Yeah, well, they also
because they actually originally hail from the planet of Journalistia. I'm surprised you didn't know this, Sam. You're a well-versed guy.
Listen, I mean, I'm well-versed, but like, clearly I can't know all of the lore, so tell me more about like Journalistia. I do know that
it's a whole planet full of them, right? And all they do is cover each other all day. And so you can see how that would get really boring and annoying, them just following each other. So they set out in the universe, right, to find a home planet where they could cover another species. And eventually they found us here on Earth. And they kind of like had to mutate their DNA to kind of look like us. But I'm telling you, you'll see the thorax. That's why you don't see journalists without a shirt on.
Well, I mean, I might be the one journalist who has gone shirtless before.
You're not a journalist. You do opinion.
Yes,
I've
and
seen you don't have a thorax.
No, I
You're
actually,
from Good Earth.
no, I actually have.
Sam barely has a midsection.
Well, the one thing that Morpheus and I both have, unlike journalists, is a fucking spine.
That's true. Well, he would have. Look, all I'm saying is that the journalists have a different anatomy and or brain structure than you and I because they're of different species. They also don't have a soul. Did you know this, Sam?
Yeah. Yes. I did know the soulless part because because my friend of show Karina Harney told me in the interview that journos were trying to interview her for a year and just constantly harassing her. And then when they finally did interview her and she told her story, they just were like, "Oh, well, that's not the narrative that we wanted. So, F you, we're just not going to use it." So
right, and then they do that hiss noise. It comes out of the thorax, by the way.
She actually did say that the journalist she talked to, I think, hissed at her at one point. I'm not joking.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's an it's not even, they weren't even hissing at her. It's an involuntary insect noise that they make when they're contemplating eating food. It's almost like when your mouth waters, but for an insect. They were probably about to eat her, actually. The good thing she got out of there.
Yeah, thank God she came on to this show where we talked for 3 hours and about.
That's right, where we expose those fucking Xenos for what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just remember, chat. Journalists don't even just come from another planet in our solar system. They actually come from an entirely different galaxy. And it's right. If you look at the North Star and you move about 15 degrees to the left, Sam, you'll find a galaxy, right? If you're looking through a telescope, in that galaxy, on one of those stars, there's actually two stars orbiting each other. And in the middle of it is Journalistia. It looks a lot like hell. And they go back there when they die, too, by the way. I'm surprised how little people know about journalists in this day and age.
Well, now we know, but you want to know who has more integrity than journalists? Well, basically just about anyone, but specifically in this case, comedians have more integrity than journalists do. And to illustrate this point, we have a speech from Mr. Rowan Atkinson as
I was wondering how long you were going to let me go on disparaging journalists as being extraterrestrials and saying insane shit before you played the video. The answer was about 7 minutes.
Forever.
Well, yeah. It was a perfect. It was a perfect segue. So Rowan Atkinson has way more integrity than journalists, and I've not watched this.
He's also from outer space, but it's a whole different story. I won't get into it.
Yeah, well, let's see what he has to say. So,
comes to the consideration of any issue relating to free speech, is my passionate belief that the second most precious thing in life is the right to express yourself freely. The most precious thing in life, I think, is food in your mouth. And the third most precious is a roof over your head. But a fixture for me in the number 2 slot is free expression, just below the need to sustain life itself. That is because I have enjoyed free expression in this country all my professional life and fully expect to continue to do so. Personally, I suspect highly unlikely to be arrested for whatever laws exist to contain free expression because of the undoubtedly privileged position that is afforded to those of a high public profile. So my concerns are less for myself and more for those more vulnerable because of their lower profile. Like the man arrested in Oxford for calling a police horse gay, or the teenager arrested for calling the Church of Scientology a cult, or the cafe owner arrested for displaying passages from the Bible on a TV screen. When I heard of some of these more ludicrous offenses and charges, I remembered that I had been here before in a fictional context. I once did a show called Not the 9 O'Clock News some years ago, and we did a sketch where Griff Rhys-Jones played Constable Savage, a manifestly racist police officer to whom I, as his station commander, is giving a dressing down for arresting a black man on a whole string of ridiculous, trumped up and ludicrous charges. The charges for which Constable Savage arrested Mr. Winston Kadogo of 55 Mercer Road were these: walking on the cracks in the pavement, walking in a loud shirt in a built-up area during the hours of darkness, and one of my favorites, walking around all over the place. He was also arrested for urinating in a public convenience and looking at me in a funny way. Who would have thought that we would end up with a law that would allow life to imitate art so exactly? I read somewhere a defender of the status quo claiming that the fact that the gay horse case was dropped after the arrested man refused to pay the fine, and that the Scientology case was also dropped at some point during the court process, was proof that the law was working well, ignoring the fact that the only reason these cases were dropped was because of the publicity that they had attracted. The police sensed that ridicule was just around the corner and withdrew their actions. But what about the thousands of other cases that did not enjoy the oxygen of publicity, that weren't quite ludicrous enough to attract media attention? Even for those actions that were withdrawn, people were arrested, questioned, taken to court, and then released. That isn't a law working properly. That is censoriousness of the most intimidating kind, guaranteed to have, as Lord Deere says, a chilling effect on free expression and free protest. Parliament's Joint Committee on Human Rights summarized, as you may know, this whole issue very well by saying, while arresting...
I just want to pause here real quick for commentary reasons, but I also want to say that, I did grow up watching Mr. Bean and him being really goofy and stuff, but
he a comedy legend, but also a well-decorated serious actor as well.
Well, yes, and that's what I was gonna say. I have seen him do serious stuff before, but man, it's really I forget how well spoken he actually is sometimes.
Well, and especially you figure this is from the heart. I mean, maybe he had somebody helped him write it, but you can tell he means this.
Yeah.
And at great risk to himself to come out and say this at a time in England where they're literally arresting you for speaking like this.
Yeah, and
let's not forget that our platform Rumble is banned in that country.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, now Brazil and France too.
Yes. Also,
and Russia.
Well, no shocker there.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to point out before I keep on playing this, for those who are not watching this, who are listening on audio only, there's a sign that says he's standing between two signs that say feel free to insult me. And I don't know, but I kind of like that for some reason.
Well, he's talking about the right to insult in this video, and he even He even says right to offend, but that's why it stood out to me, Sam.
Yeah.
Is because at the heart of the free speech debate, a lot of it gets lost that even on the right, they're like, well, yeah, okay, get rid of the weirdos who say things that I don't like. That's fine, but just not my normie Trump beliefs. No, you actually have to protect offensive speech, which he gets into, I think, a little bit here. But the only speech that needs protecting is the stuff that upsets people. If you say puppies are cute, pretty much everybody agrees with you. So that doesn't need to be protected.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, completely.
But you say what they said in the Brandenburg case, and you might need some legal protections.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what they said in that case, but look it up. Brandenburg v. Ohio. It was decided you're allowed to say stuff like that, Sam. I'm just not going to say it on the show.
Right. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. So I wouldn't, and I would encourage the audience to look that up on their own time.
Yeah,
too.
it shows you how far you can actually go with free speech in this country. But in his country right now, there's 11-year-olds getting arrested for tweets facing 3 years in prison. So that's what this speech is. The other thing that it says on there is reform Section 5, because that's the law he's referring to. The law is being applied to his hate speech, and you can get 3 years for it. And they're saying they're going to arrest American citizens and all that as well, but good luck. Suck my fucking American dick, Redcoat. Come and get me.
Yep.
The Redcoats are coming. The Redcoats are coming.
Thank God.
We'll stand with people like him.
Thank God we seceded from these people, huh?
Yeah.
Arresting a protester for using threatening or abusive speech may, depending on the circumstances, be a proportionate response. We do not think that language or behavior that is merely insulting should ever be criminalized in this way. The clear problem with the outlawing of insult is that too many things can be interpreted as such. Criticism is easily construed as insult by certain parties. Ridicule easily construed as insult. Sarcasm, unfavorable comparison, merely stating an alternative point of view to the orthodoxy can be interpreted as insult. And because so many things can be interpreted as insult, it is hardly surprising that so many things have been, as the examples I talked about earlier show. Although the law under discussion has been on the statute book for over 25 years, it is indicative of a culture that has taken hold of the programs of successive governments, that with the reasonable and well-intentioned ambition to contain obnoxious elements in society, has created a society of an extraordinarily authoritarian and controlling nature. That is what you might call the new intolerance, a new but intense desire to gag uncomfortable voices of dissent. I am not intolerant, say many people, say many softly spoken, highly educated, liberal-minded people. I'm only intolerant of intolerance. And people tend to nod sagely and say, oh, yes, wise words, wise words. And yet, if you think about this supposedly inarguable statement for longer than 5 seconds, you realize that all it is advocating is the replacement of one kind of intolerance with another, which to me doesn't represent any kind of progress at all. Underlying prejudices, injustices, or resentments are not addressed by arresting people. They are addressed by the issues being aired, argued, and dealt with, preferably outside the legal process. For me, the best way to increase society's resistance to insulting or offensive speech is to allow a lot more of it. As with childhood diseases, you can better resist those germs to which you have been exposed. We need to build our immunity to taking offense so that we can deal with the issues that perfectly justified criticism can raise. Our priority should be to deal with the message, not the messenger. As President Obama said in an address to the United Nations only a month or so ago, laudable efforts to restrict speech can become a tool to silence critics or oppress minorities. The strongest weapon against hateful speech is not repression, it is more speech. And that's the essence of my thesis, more speech. If we want a robust society, we need more robust dialogue, and that must include the right to insult or to offend. And even if, as Lord Dear says, the freedom to be inoffensive is no freedom at all. The repeal of this word in this clause will be only a small step, but it will, I hope, be a critical one in what should be a longer-term project to pause and slowly rewind the creeping culture of censoriousness. It is a small skirmish in the battle, in my opinion, to deal with what Sir Salman Rushdie refers to as the outrage industry. Self-appointed arbiters of the public good, encouraging media-stoked outrage to which the police feel under terrible pressure to react. A newspaper rings up Scotland Yard. Someone has said something slightly insulting on Twitter about someone who we think a national treasure. What are you going to do about it? And the police panic and they scrabble around and then grasp the most inappropriate lifeline of all, Section 5 of the Public Order Act, that thing where you can arrest anybody for saying anything that might be construed by anyone else as insulting. They don't seem to need a real victim. They need only to make the judgment that somebody could have been offended if they had heard or read what has been said. The most ludicrous degree of latitude. The storms that surround Twitter and Facebook comment have raised some fascinating issues about free speech, which we haven't really yet come to terms with. Firstly, that we all have to take responsibility for what we say, which is quite a good lesson to learn. But secondly, we've learned how appallingly prickly and intolerant society has become of even the mildest adverse comment. The law should not be aiding and abetting this new intolerance. Free speech can only suffer if the law prevents us from dealing with its consequences. I offer my wholehearted support to the Reform Section 5 campaign. Thank you very much.
For more great content, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.
Okay, so I don't know much British law, but it seems to me like that whole entire law should just be banned outright, maybe.
Yeah, but they don't have any
I
guarantee
agree.
of free speech. They don't very
Sure,
few
we're the
other
only country in the world that has a guaranteed free speech law.
Yeah. No, that's true.
This is what happens when you don't have one is, well, okay, you might insult somebody, go to jail.
Yeah, that's why I'm unapologetically American as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually someone once asked me a few years ago if it ever hurt my feelings if someone made fun of me for being in a wheelchair. It was specific in regards to the whole merge thing.
Hey Sam, you're in a wheelchair.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand why that would seem like a good idea. Just
hey Sam, your legs don't work.
Now I'm getting shit thrown at me again. So it must have been a good joke.
Hey Mort, you stutter sometimes, and
I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah, see there you go. It's I'm okay, well,
does it hurt your feelings? Are you really upset that people were nice to you and then are no longer nice to you anymore?
Well,
it shouldn't matter. You get ripped by August, right?
Hey, well, I could say that it's September, and like I'm actually like, granted, it's not like full time, but like I can actually walk. Like I've actually probably taken more steps than Mersh has
Oh my
at this
God,
point
Shmuley was right again.
in physical therapy. No. I will own it this time. Like I can I can walk in physical therapy
You
with the
heard it here,
assistance.
chat. Sam admits it.
But can you walk when not drunk?
Well, probably better than Mersh can.
Yeah, but you'll probably not be as drunk
Yeah,
because it's Mersh.
yeah,
I don't think you can drink that much. I'm pretty sure that's more than you weigh.
yeah. Well, that's true. I could never drink that much. I die of alcohol poisoning. But even so, like I'm pretty sure if I were super snoggered, I could still walk better than he could. Because let's face it, like having cerebral palsy, I do kind of have the gait of a drunk man.
That's
And
it. You
like,
should challenge him to a 20 pace walk race.
you know what? He would.
I think he could be. My mom's looking at me like I'm the devil right now. I think he could beat Mersh in 20 steps. Which one could get to the finish line first? I think it's Sam.
You know what? I would automatically win that fight because he would do exactly what he did with Baked Alaska and say, "Sam, this is Tampa," and then just like waddle away. So
Yeah, something like that. I think he'd
like,
run out of breath. That's 20 whole steps.
yeah,
You know
His
how hard
COPD would
20
kick in.
steps is, Sam? For a guy like Mersh, he might have a stroke.
I mean, 25 steps is hard for me, but like I can still do it.
That's why I
But
figured 20 steps. I wasn't even thinking about you. I'm thinking like, what's the most Mersh could reasonably do? It wasn't that I was like, what's the most Sam could reasonably do? It's trying to equalize here. We're gonna make it a fair race.
yeah,
You got to give him a handicap.
well, it'll never be a fair fight because like I'm not because like if you think about it, I'm a skinny guy. Like I'm 100 like pounds or so soaking wet. Like Mersh is like 300. Mersh is like he's carrying like I don't know 200
He's
extra.
three of you.
Yeah, well he's carrying
Mersh is a fat fuck.
he's carrying like extra weight on his frame and like like
Is he ever?
yeah, well I mean like carrying all that weight is like super hard.
Yeah, that's why, 20 steps. I think, look, if he puts in some training before it'd be fine. It'd be fair. What, you think 20 is too much for him?
I mean, no, listen, I think
What if we gave him a 5-step head start?
like I think that would be fair. So
I'm pretty sure
10-step head start.
Well, I think that's what I was going to say. You go 10 steps in the amount of time it takes him to catch his breath.
yeah. Well, and also like my legs are also like longer than his.
Probably get used more.
Yeah. So Yeah, also like technically, if you think about it, like I'd actually work at like a disadvantage because, like, for all I know, like Mersh's joints should still be in good condition, but like even with a busted hip, I could probably still outwalk him.
Yeah, Sam,
So.
but you can't fix a broken brain.
Well,
And look at Mersh. What's a more broken brain than that? This is a guy who thinks putting
DSP
revenge
brain.
porn up and taking little snippets off for donations was a good idea.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's right. He was the first one to do that. So.
Yep, he is the OG revenge pornographer. What
Which
a title.
Which, by the way, Steel Toe, he's like on, like, I'm seeing him pop up on like Fox, like 5 News, like local stuff now. It's weird.
It's a great story for those insectoid journalists, right? It gets their thorax pumping because you got a guy that talks shit about the divorce case and all these charges on his show, so they can just take clips and make him look like it. Like this, they get hungry when they salivate, and then their thoraxes make that hissing sound. It's awful.
Yeah. So anyway, I kind of feel like, I don't know, after that Rowan Atkinson clip, have you ever actually seen the Right to Offend speech that like Max and I reference?
Bits and pieces of it, and I've looked at it recently. So I did watch it recently, but before my incident.
Okay, so
The Nazi Moon incident.
Yep.
Well, like I was just gonna say, like, if no one here had seen the Right to Offend speech, like I think it's fantastic. But
yeah, it's a great speech.
Yeah, no, I mean, overall, like I don't really have much else to say, like in regards to the debate or anything. Like,
and that's the big news of the week too, right? It's like we already. It played out exactly like we kind of said last night, the Kamala people will support Kamala, the Trump people will support Trump, and everything's going to keep on rolling.
Yeah. Did anything else really happen this week? I don't think so. I had Zach James on the show on Monday, which was fantastic. I'm going to have Nathaniel Hummel of the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast on this coming Monday. But other than that, like, not too much going on. I might have a surprise tomorrow in the arena of books. But more
that shirtless calendar that people have been asking about, Sam.
Well, who knows? Damn, Max, you weren't supposed to spoil that for people. Now, this is why I can't tell you anything.
My favorite is the firefight. What is that, June? When you do the firefighter one?
Yeah, I mean, look, my uncle was a firefighter, right? So like
but he never used a hose like that, Sam.
You know what? Like, I'm not. Well, he used plenty of hoses in his day, I'm sure. So, bits and
yeah,
that's
that one, Sam.
But you're the one that I'm trying to respond to your bit, Max. Like, what do you want?
I know, it's great. Yeah, so we got the debate, and then we covered the debate again. So if anybody says we didn't cover the debate enough, that's two.
Here's the thing: is
You got books. You should talk about your books.
that's what I was saying is like I actually might have a short story coming out like later this week. You know, I like today was 9/11. Today is 9/11, and like
Oh yeah.
hardly anyone has mentioned that. The only thing I will say is that like I think we reflect a lot on like what a tragedy 9/11 was, and it is a tragedy, but like I think this year I want to acknowledge like the first responders, and specifically like Andrew Nelson, friend of the show, who lost friends and like fellow officers and other first responders that he knew, and on
even that will run into a collapsing building as opposed to out of it.
Yeah. So
that takes a special kind of person, in my humble opinion. You said what you want about the day-to-day stuff, and we talked even with Andrew actually about like police corruption and brutality. But at the end of the day, on a day like 9/11, the cops that are running into that building, I mean, that takes a lot of balls, and anybody like it's one of those things. There's no corruption there. There's just a willingness to help.
No, that's spur of the moment shit there. So, we have another panelist joining us.
Good evening, fellas.
How are you doing, Mr. Gamma?
I'm doing quite well. How you doing tonight, fellas? Chat. Hello.
Pretty good. So what do you think what did you think of the debate, if anything?
Well, as I said last night, and I've been pretty consistent on pretty much anytime anything happens, especially super public like debates and stuff, is I find it so incredibly uncomfortable to deal with, because it's theater. I mean, we all know it's theater, and it's not even good theater anymore. And you know what I mean? It's frustrating, because there's a number of people that this shit still works on,
and there's a lot of issues that don't get gotten to because of this format of just screeching at each other. Exactly. Like the real issues that real people actually care about don't get as much attention. This is what I've noticed in the news coverage, talking about the economic stuff, and they both suggested ideas on inflation. At least if you take an unbiased approach, you could look at both of those things, but that's not what people are talking about, right? It's all the gotchas and the one-liners and whatnot. But really, the number one issue in every poll consistently for 4+ years now has been the economy. But that's not the story everybody's talking about, because it's theater.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we'd rather talk about like pointless things like Charlottesville. No, I mean, Max and I were just saying that like we don't have much to say about the debate other than what we saw last night, and it's not going to change anybody's opinion. So
very few, like enough for me to say that it's not really going to change anybody's. Like, I'm sure there's one guy, there's always an outlier, right? There's one guy that was watching that, and then Kamala said a thing, and he was like, I'm voting for her. And then there was another guy, like a lady, right? And she saw it, and then Trump made a point, and she's like, I'm voting for him. But those are really rare people, because most people had been decided before they even announced who was potentially running in a primary.
Yeah.
The Harris people were going to vote for Biden. Harris is the vice president, so like they were kind of set in stone, and most of the Trump people were set in stone since 2020. Like, I've had this flag up, I just don't think that this debate was going to move the needle at all. And I think that if you look through the next week, the polling numbers will hold true for that. They're not going to change, not significantly.
I think the one thing I had a little like pot thought or shower thought or whatever is it last night actually. Excuse me, but like the conspiracy, section of my brain started spinning up, and the only thing that I mean, I could see, like, because again, I pointed out while we were watching last night, Kamala seemed way more prepared and coherent than I think we've maybe ever seen her. Certainly in her time as vice president, right?
I would say the closest I've seen was when she was a senator still. So yes,
exactly. So I started thinking like, okay, well, what if they just put on a really good performance, and the whole goal is to just perform well. That way, when they fuck with the numbers behind the scenes, it looks more believable to the people that are Trump voters, let's say, but they're also naive enough to just genuinely believe.
Like blackpilling Trump voters is an actual strategy. If you look at like a lot of their open, it's not even hidden. Democrat Party documents are like, if you can demoralize them into thinking oh, the election wasn't rigged, there was never any cheating, freest and fairest election ever, but if they think it was, make them think we're going to do it twice as hard this time so that they don't even bother to vote.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And if Kamala's out here, which she's not, at least certainly not last night, she's out here like walking circles around Trump, or even just walking a straight line, for that matter, in terms of like saying talking policy and hitting all the right notes and stuff like that. None of that's happening, of course. I mean, on either side, really. But yeah, it's just theater. It's all, this is the part of the popularity contest that I dislike the most, I think.
Yeah. Well, and like, right now there's actually like, ironically, there's a debate as to whether or not there's going to be another debate. So,
well, that one was, they debated that one too. So, yeah, of course we're and for Kamala's sake, if she did, I'm gonna say mid, and that's the best that they could have hoped for. Sure. They are not doing another debate. No chance in it. If she did horrible, they might consider another debate. And if she did really well, they would definitely not do another debate. She did mid, which is her version of really well.
Exactly.
She didn't that's fuck it up a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that's kind of my point is they can, the media machine can just spin the handful of well-spoken sentences that she laid out, regardless of how pointless it is. But they can just put that shit on repeat and have the talking heads say what she actually meant. Or, you know what I mean? Put
every story. To get an idea of what the left is talking about, I actually just look at my Yahoo News feed, right? Because it feeds you, whenever you click on it, feeds you leftist tinged stories about it because it's Yahoo. And so that's how I can kind of see, like, it'll recommend me, Huffington Post and all this left shit. And they are in full, oh yeah, she killed him, mode, which most people don't agree with that, but it's going to be repeated and repeated and repeated until they accept that she won this debate handily.
Exactly. So, right. And when the people that are maybe on the fence are a little more centrist, or even have are decided for Trump or whatever, but are, reluctantly, let's say. Or yeah, like you said, the weak Trump voter, the one that's like, you know what, if they see it spread all, you know what I mean? And on every fucking screen that they ever walk across or open up, in their own possession, it's, just talking about how hard Kamala's crushing. And yeah, it'll blackpill the fuck out of people that already didn't really believe in the process, but, think Trump is a reason to start,
Which is why I say, if you plan on voting, don't get talked out of it. Just vote. understand that hey, the process might not be as fucking transparent as you'd like it. But if they want to scare you away from doing it, there's a reason they will expend time and resources to do that. It's because if they weren't worried about you and they thought, oh well, we're gonna win handily, they wouldn't be trying to get you not to vote. Black pill guy.
Of course. Go ahead, Sammy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do think a lot of like that's why I was getting on like a lot of right wingers earlier for like, bitching out the whole like Taylor Swift's endorsement of Kamala, because it's like, who cares? Like, why are we talking about this? Like, to me, like, it doesn't matter that Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. Like,
who's your favorite musician, Sam?
Probably like Sting, who's very like left wing. So.
Well, I was immediately going to be like, and what is his politics as compared to yours? Obviously Sting is a kind of famous example because he's very open about his politics. But yeah, would you care who he endorsed for president or any other political office?
I mean, he's British, so like his politics.
Ignoring that, just would you take his advice just because you like his music?
No, of course not. So,
sadly, we live in a culture where that's encouraged, particularly amongst young people.
Yeah,
the attention economy of social media is not just like a catchy slogan. That's what it actually is, right? And so the desire to get attention by any means necessary, or he who has the most attention wins kind of mentality permeates a lot of Zoomers. Like, I don't think you could teach it out of them either. I think it's organic.
Well, here's a better example, I guess.
Well, not organic because these screens were forced on them, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I guess here's a better example that kind of relates to my life, and in fact my field that I work in, if you consider that to be my writing career. But Don Winslow, who is a New York Times bestseller, he's as anti-Trump as he gets, and yet like he objectively still writes like damn good books, like The Cartel, The Force, and all these other books. The only reason why I won't buy his books, it's not even because of his politics per se. It's because
I told you not to.
Yeah. It's because he has said that he doesn't want MAGA people to buy his books. And
same deal I had with Night Dive Studios. They make a lot of remasters of old games from my heyday, and they've all been, with like very few exceptions, really, really well done. But they specifically said they don't want people like me, a Trump supporter, to buy their games anymore, and that sucks because I like them. But I won't. Fine, if you and same Dunkin' Donuts, Sam. They said they don't want to work with Rumble because the creators are too edgy, and by that they meant Steven Crowder of all people. And I'm just thinking, man, we're a lot edgier than Crowder. If Dunkin' Donuts doesn't want Rumble creators' business, then I won't give them any business, and I've been going elsewhere. Same principle, right? If you don't want my business, then fuck you. I'll take it elsewhere. I don't care if I like your product.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a thing for a very long time. Voting with your dollar. That's what's really important. You have more voting power with your dollar than you do with your actual vote. And guess what? Even if you're poor, you have more than $1. And I mean, of course, a dollar doesn't mean what it used to. And they keep the brr machine.
Yeah, pretty soon we won't have more than $1.
Yeah, no shit. Well, no, you'll need a fucking wheelbarrow to get bread and milk. But
you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, ideally we'll all be
get shot.
Yeah. No, fuck that. They learned a long time ago they can't just kill you. I mean, for the most extreme ne'er-do-wells, let's say, but yeah, for the rest of us sheep, they can stick us in a fucking windowless room for a little while and, stick some electrodes in our brain and, they can reprogram us to do whatever we want. And then it's free labor. Then we're a fucking, you know what I mean?
A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. I mean, it's much like what prison has been since whatever article or whatever the fuck that is, where they made it legal to let prisoners work for literal pennies or whatever. I can't remember. It's an amendment or
yep, which
something.
Which Kamal was all for, and also like kept prisoners. That is the one thing I do want to comment that like cracked me up is that like she said that like, well, like I'm a prosecutor that said like I cared, and like Max was like, as opposed to like, who did this or like what evidence do you have or any one of those things. So
yeah, Sam, it's not about evidence. Okay, she is a strong, independent black woman, and so you're wrong. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I guess I am.
Fucking evidence. She feels like he's guilty, and she is a strong, black, independent woman. Sam, put him to death now.
Who don't you know, man?
Yeah, well, I'm being.
She feels away.
Yeah, I mean, who needs evidence when you have emotion?
I mean, have you never heard of women's intuition, Sam?
Hillary Clinton was more of a black woman than fucking Kamala Harris. I mean, Hillary had the hot sauce at least.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true.
We need confirmation of Kamala eating spicy food, I think, before we can admit that she's any nationality at all.
I think she's Indian, right? So if she's Indian, exactly. She can eat the spiciest of food,
That's what she says, but let's see her eat some fucking curry. And she says she's Jamaican too? Well, then let's get some fucking jerk chicken out on this bitch.
Just about to say, let's get some fucking jerk wings out. We'll start there. We'll just start with some spicy chicken wings, bitch.
Yeah, that's right. You eat it.
Well,
eat it like it's Willie Brown's dick.
Well, spicy foods might be on the might be on the terror watch list. So.
That's true, but so will not spicy foods because those are correlated with white people who are clearly terrorists, Sam.
Yeah.
I know this because the journalists told me so, and then their thorax made that weird clicky hissing sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows. See, I was explaining the history of the journalists are actually from another galaxy to Sam. He didn't know that, and that they don't have souls.
Yeah.
Well, I did know that second part, but the clicking noises. So what you're telling me is that like journalists are like the actual clickers from like The Last of Us.
Yeah. Well, that's how you can tell it's a journalist is they got that little thorax gland right underneath the vocal cords.
Yeah.
It's a reference, and I know it, but I can't pull it out of my brain for some reason.
No, I'm just talking shit. I just started spewing bullshit about how they're from outer space for about 10 minutes earlier.
Ah, dude, that's solid.
Yeah. And Sam didn't know what to do.
He's like, okay. Very good.
I mean, they're actually literally from another galaxy, though.
Yeah, well, with the way they're, listen, like I would actually find that believable with the way they report stuff these days, or don't rather.
Well, the first thing I thought of was the movie Mimic. Wasn't it Mimic? Where they A, make clicking sounds, and B, mimic human beings, which is basically what journalists do.
Yeah. The Mimic was the closest thing, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely do mimic human beings, those journalists. They're not good at it, but they try.
Yeah, they try. Anyway, though, Morpheus, any plans
Yes.
for bits and bones?
We're planning an episode for tomorrow, and over my week of crash, Concord decided to crash and burn, and it's been shut down.
I
Yeah, which
know
is
Corey's
hilarious.
gonna be happy because the director of Payday 3 just stepped down for
Yep,
putting
we
out a
talked about
shitty
that
game.
too.
I'm sure he'll
So-
have a lot to
Yep,
say about
tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. EST.
So, hey, like Mort was in the hospital, but at least he's not on life support, unlike the gaming industry.
Sony especially, because they just
So-
also released their fucking PS5 Pro or whatever for like $1,000 or some shit, with no fucking games.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah,
There was
and
There was a minute I was toying with the idea of buying a PS5 before getting my PC built, and then I woke up. Yeah.
I mean, on the bright side, you and I could have played games together, but you know,
Well, on the PC, you should be able. There's a lot of cross-platform games now. You know.
yeah,
That's
there
what I've
is.
been telling him, but then he doesn't listen. You play mostly single player shit anyway, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be fun to play some Helldivers with you, though. Although I don't even know if it's fun to play Helldivers. It's the one game. It's the whole reason I started building the fucking PC finally. But now
You know
it
what
appears
I've been
they've ruined
playing?
that game too.
Unapologetically, I've been playing Call of Duty because it's in Game Pass, and I haven't played it since Black Ops 1. And I played the beta for Black Ops 6, and I had a shit ton of fun, and I do really well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The new Black Ops?
I mean, yeah, I Black
Yeah.
Ops 1 was really fun. I liked it, but that's the last Call of Duty, because that's the people's problem with it, right? It's the same every year. I didn't play it for like 10 years, so that doesn't really bother me.
Am I the one who actually like I Black Ops 1 is my favorite game, is one of my favorite Call of Duty games. Not even for like multiplayer, but for like the campaign. Like
Campaign was all right, but there wasn't even a campaign in the beta, right? It's just multiplayer, but I really liked it. There's a lot of like references to Black Ops 1. Some of the maps are from it, and the movement system. You know how people are always diving around and shit in Call of Duty. They made that even crazier, so you could do
the Omni movement. Yeah,
it's fun actually, and I dig it. So I'm gonna keep playing it, Sam.
it sucks because Battlefield 5 had basically exactly the same movement system, like in like 2019 or 2020, I think it was. And that game flopped.
Yeah,
hard.
they just fucked up the marketing on that game, though.
Yeah, and Battlefield just has such a bad habit of releasing broken bullshit and then fixing it like a year, over the course of the next year. You have to have so much patience to be
And
a
the
Battlefield
EA hype cycle digs them in that hole too, because
fuck yeah.
They play it up like at launch, this is going to be where you want to be, because there's a lot of devs now that'll do like an early access launch for shit like that, and they'll be like, hey, it's not going to be ready, and then when it is ready, it's fine. But EA can't be bothered to do that.
I became a Battlefield, like a hardcore Battlefield fan from the moment I played my first Battlefield game, which was Battlefield 3. I played the beta back in like 2011. And I hadn't even played that much Call of Duty. I played some, of course. It was like the thing. Modern Warfare 2, especially, I put a ton of time into that. Everybody
That's
did.
like that and Black Ops are like the king of Call of Duty for me.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then Halo 3, I fucking loved Halo 3, multiplayer. But sorry, I forgot where I was going. What was I just talking about? I looked at my phone.
Call of Duty, Battlefield.
Oh, yeah, Battlefield. So Battlefield 3, right? That I put in like 1,200 hours on that game, and I had anyway. So when Battlefield 4 came out, I was obviously very stoked, and that game was notoriously broken from the jump. And I was such a huge fan. They got rid of a bunch of features that I loved and added some new shit that I thought was pointless. But whatever, I'll give it a chance.
I'll say that after they did a whole bunch of patches, Battlefield 4 was fun, but it took a long time.
It literally took over a year.
Yeah.
And it became ultimately one of the best entries in the franchise. But I never got to experience that because I bailed after like 6-7 months of trying. I felt like a playtester. I felt like an unpaid playtester. And when that realization hit me, I'm like, oh, fuck. That they've been doing this shit forever. I mean, they did it with Battlefield 3 as well, but I just was so fresh and was having so much fun. The constant weapon balances and weapon balances were changing dramatically and consistently and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know.
That's kind of what I like about the open beta for Black Ops 6. Is it got rid of a lot of the I've been playing last year's Modern Warfare 3-2, I guess. I played that a little because it was free, because I was waiting for the beta to pop up. And there's a lot of complication in that system. You can unlock anything as the next thing, but it's based on daily challenges, and it's just, I don't like the system. Black Ops 6 is like level up, get new thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Like the most simple way possible. And like the first beta went to like level 20. So we were all kind of limited to like that shit. And then the second week it went to level 30. And I feel like by that, like only a little farther than that, you would have everything you need. And you don't have to like Modern Warfare 3 has like unlimited unlocks basically. And because they want you to play it forever, which I leveled up to whatever the level is, like 55 or whatever. And I'll probably get bored of it real quick. But Black Ops 6, I think I'll spend a little more time with, actually. I like the little mosh pit mode where it's like small map 6v6. I do really well.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Fun.
No, that's awesome. I do see, and the Warhammer, and also I did want to say for the record, it does seem that as soon as I join the show, which admittedly is usually about an hour in, but when I start talking, that's when Sammy starts doing this fucking falling the fuck asleep shit. So I think it's just me. It's my, when I start talking, he's just like
the dulcet tones lure him to sleep.
He's like,
you do have a really soothing voice there, Apex.
Thanks, Mort.
No, it's because he's been drunk on the show with you so many times that it's like his ASMR to just hear you talking.
Yeah, I took like a year and a half off after spending like 3 years every week with this boy, and then some. Cheers, buddy. I'm gonna tap my screen. I'm just kidding, though. But you do, you know, we look really bad when we're just trying to keep the show going in conversation, and you're just fucking literally nodding out like a junkie, almost.
Well, look. I mean,
you mean he's not a junkie?
I mean, the debate was boring as fuck. So,
well, yesterday, Sam.
Yeah, that was yesterday. We're talking.
Yeah.
Today we're talking. You know.
Yeah.
You can liven it up however you like.
Well, I mean,
let's start with some push-ups. Ready?
Ass, titties, titties, ass, titties, titties, ass.
I mean,
yeah.
I
maybe that's what we should do. When I start joining the show, we should make that the Apex segment, where we or Apex Thirsty segment, something like that, where we just go over, we pull up some Instagram models and we live throw DMs their way on Sammy's behalf. You know,
that's right.
Or something like that.
Well, it's the search for Sam's wife.
Yeah,
because I don't deal with enough shit like that on my own. Right.
Exactly.
And no, yeah, literally, yeah. You don't deal with enough pussy being thrown at you. So we're gonna try and solve that by poking at thoughts on the internet in your name, live on air.
Even more. So
You gotta start with Melanie Mack.
Oh, of course, yeah. She'll be mommy, and we'll make you like a mittens on Twitter type of character.
what? Listen, Morpheus can fix her. I'm pretty sure that's.
No, I can't.
That's what.
She's
that's
broken.
what he. Okay.
He left you out to dry, Sam.
Well,
there are some chicks that are so broken, even Morton, Sam can't fix them.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, oh, okay, well then I can fix her, but then I'm like, yeah, no, I can't even say that with a straight face. So
I'm the older, more experienced model there, Sam, and if I can't fix her, you sure as hell ain't.
Well,
is the point to fix her?
I
Yes.
mean,
oh, okay.
To fix her and try to make her a respectable wifey.
Yeah.
Good luck. You gonna do that for
Which is
Brittany
why
too?
I said that's not possible.
No.
No.
Make me fix Brittany.
Well, people have tried to recruit me to do that.
Brittany
but
hasn't been fixable since like what, 2002?
Probably before that, even I would say.
No. She was completely competent and should be in control of all her own choices, don't you know? I heard that. The internet told me that, Sam. Are you telling me the internet was wrong?
The internet is always wrong.
I mean, the internet also told me that Barack Obama would fix like if Obama became president, that like racism would just like vanish overnight.
The internet told me I'd
And
be
then
able to walk
it
by the year 2020.
And then racism all went away and we all like sang Kumbaya, right?
I mean, sure, if your definition of kumbaya is different from most people's, from what reality is,
You light Minneapolis on fire and you get out the guitar and you sing Kumbaya.
$2 billion in fucking damages.
Yeah, you rob a couple of stores, do stuff like that.
Right.
But
Coming together. It was beautiful.
yeah, I do remember when remember after I do remember after the Eagles won the Super Bowl and everyone was riding in Philly and someone tweeted out like, the city of brotherly love, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but they won a championship, so they got to destroy it. Because being from Massachusetts, I can certainly say that all the championship parades that we have, we tore down Boston every single time, Sam.
Yeah,
there was only like 20 championship parades there in the last fucking 25 years, and so the place is obviously burnt to the ground now, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because cities always got a riot when their team wins. Especially when it's been that first Red Sox one was like almost 100 years. They obviously had to riot and burn Boston to the ground.
Yeah.
Eat horse shit and stuff too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, of course. Like Boston, we have those championship parades, the Patriots, the Bruins, the fucking stuff, all those championship parades, and every time, Sam, they burn Boston to the ground like all these other cities you see. Oh wait, no, that's just Philadelphia and Chicago.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot. Sometimes LA. Denver.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Denver had a good riot when like the Nuggets won or something.
Yeah, and thank God I was already here by that, because man, like
Florida don't need the sports team riot. They're just on meth.
Yeah. Well, yeah, now. Oh, that's another thing. Everyone thought that legalizing pot would be such a good idea in Denver, and I was told that I was just simply a square for saying that it wouldn't pan out. But
No,
I was right.
Well, you
No.
are a square, Sam, but for a different reason.
yeah. Well, hold on. You may be right, Sam, but not likely for the reasons that you think, because from its inception, the whole legal weed thing has been fucking drowned by because states are doing it. It's still not federally legal. So the feds have had their foot on every single dispensary's neck since it started. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just legal organized crime. It's just another legal organized crime. You know, I mentioned this recently on the show, but I live between two legal states. I don't live in a legal state, but I can drive about 30, maybe 40 minutes in either direction and end up in a state, you know what I mean, and stop at a dispensary. One of those states, it is exorbitantly expensive. It's crazy how fucking expensive it is. The other state is cheaper than my local drug dealer has ever been. Like I can get an eighth or a half, whatever. You know what I mean? It's better
That's
weed.
kind of where it's at here. Like when I go to the shop, right? I live somewhat close to Rhode Island. Almost every car there has a Rhode Island license plate. It's legal in Rhode Island. Why do they come here? Because it's half the fucking price.
Exactly. But my point though, Sammy, is that it maybe didn't make things better. It likely made things worse because all it did was introduce a competitor to the drug market, one that is protected technically by state law. You know what I mean?
It's a corporate state partnership, right? And in a lot of these cases, like even the place I go to is a corporation that was kind of invented by this being legal, but they have to have, like, the guy that owns it. I've talked to him. He doesn't like that he has to have the state's hand in his pocket and vice versa, but that's how it is if he wants to run a business. You know,
Right.
and all the taxes, all the stupid regulation. Like there's one, I don't even understand the point of it because the rule is you can only buy 1 ounce a day. Right? I guess that's to discourage the gray market reselling or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, this one I went to that had me talking about it in the first place a couple weeks ago. They have the same restrictions, legal restrictions. You can only buy like 2 ounces per customer per day, but they started the whole transaction by saying, "Hey, we'll do as many transactions as we need to. It's fine."
Yeah.
So,
or like you walk in with 2 people, you already double. It's just silly, a lot of the restrictions. And really it depends, is it helpful or harmful to a state? I find in looking at this, because I was when we were trying to present it to our state to get legalization to begin with, we were looking at how other states had done it, the taxes, the regulations, and how we could try and get it to be the best possible. We actually had 2 different bills that were put forth by 2 different competing groups that ended up merging into one. And the one big benefit we ended up pulling off is we have the lowest tax percentage on it in the country, which is why it's cheap here. But there's a whole bunch of other stupid regulations on it. And when they initially passed it, they left out things that a lot of people were concerned about, one of which being DUI, essentially, right? Are we still going to prosecute DUI? This is now a legal thing. So they actually had to make a new statute in Massachusetts, and they bought new testers to test. It doesn't even test if you smoked pot ever. It tests specifically your THC blood level.
Yeah.
There were other things like fines for smoking pot in a school zone and things. They didn't actually think of that at first when they passed the law. They had to add that later. And I don't even know if all the restrictions, I'm not saying the restrictions that they put on it are good or bad necessarily across the board, but they didn't even think of it at first.
Of course not.
And they've been reacting to the market the whole time.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. I think I think people misunderstand I shit on Colorado for legalizing marijuana. I'm not shitting on them for that. It's the way that they went about that was
Their tax rate. I looked at this when we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, Sam. Their tax rate is actually 4 times what Massachusetts is.
Yeah.
So by default, the gray market, which is now, it's not a black market to sell weed now in a state where it's legal. That's a gray market, right? Because you're just not following the regulations. It's like running a lemonade stand now. The problem is, though, they're going to be significantly cheaper if you're taxing at a ridiculous rate. And so why wouldn't I just go to the street dealer? And he's not paying taxes. Not on that transaction.
Yeah.
So they opened up a competitor to the traditional marijuana market, and it doesn't even. So why was I okay with the Massachusetts one? Well, it fixed a couple of my problems with the black, now gray market, Sam. I don't like dealing with criminals. That's why I stopped buying it altogether. It's because I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any trustworthy connections. And you end up talking to losers and criminals and people. If somebody beat my my cousin for like $20. So I don't have to deal with the criminal. I can walk into a store legally and fucking walk out and march down the road, and there's nobody gives a shit. So that's one. And then 2, I know nobody fucked with it. So those are the benefits. And then the third and the biggest benefit has to revolve around price, because if the gray market's significantly cheaper like it is in Colorado, it's going to outcompete whatever your price fucking is, because the amount of people like me who are like, well, I don't want to go to a black market guy, can be very quickly counteracted by, yeah, but that black market guy is selling an eighth for fucking 20 and they're selling an eighth for fucking 100.
Right.
Yeah,
and I mean, again, I think just to counter what you were saying, Sammy, I don't disagree with you, but it's not weed and weed culture's fault necessarily. I guess in a way it is, but it's because the shit, as soon as it became a thing, got choked like a fucking bad hooker by the federal government and all the fucking gangsters, the banksters and all that shit. You know what I mean? It's been choked. So again, it literally just became another like the uber competitor on the drug market for a lot of these communities. You know what I mean? So that creates violence.
I
you know,
I agree with you. Really, the only thing I blame stoner culture for is the fact that they didn't think things like this through, because
the most weed bro guy in the world, they were the most invested in legalizing it. They're the ones that went to the fucking town hall. And this is what I talk about when I say like libertarians ran out of one issue voters in a lot of states. It's specifically these people. The one heads had been motivated for like 30 years was to legalize pot. And they were the most motivated was the people who were like, dude, weed for 20, bro. And so, they didn't think it through because they had a different perspective on it. It's literal one issue voter. Well, unlike who's thinking about 10 other issues, a lot of those, the pioneers of legalizing weed, they literally are like apolitical on everything else.
No, and honestly, the real problem, even if those people, which I think a lot of them probably did consider, or had mindsets counter what you guys are talking about, where they were prepared, but what they weren't prepared for was the fucking vampires that are aware of various cultures and watch potential investment. You know what I'm saying? The people that jumped into.
I would argue that's what I meant, though, that they weren't prepared for that. They weren't prepared for corporate culture.
Right.
Because they've been underground, DIY, independent, bro. We're in the basement. We get the hydro set up, man. We're just selling it to our friends. And then all of a sudden, the ones who move from that world to the corporate version of selling weed are the ones that end up really, really successful. That's the guy I'm talking about that runs the shop I go to. He used to grow, like, because one of his big things was, although it was legal here to do so, none of the other shops that were cropping up were going to do outdoor groweries. Well, he's like, well, I've lived here all my life and I've grown weed for 20 years. Yes, you can grow it outdoors here. And because he did that, he's the only one. He fucking crushed all his competition just on pricing. So
Yeah.
you have guys that can adapt to that corporate culture, right? But a lot of the weed bro culture is actually anti-corporate. So they were not prepared for the corporate takeover of marijuana.
That's been the problem, is like it's taken. When did we get legalized in Colorado? Because Colorado was the first state, right?
2014, I believe.
I think
it's literally taken 10 years for the stoner culture to catch up. It again points to what I was just talking about. I'm on the border of two states, both of them legal, in a state, living in a state that's not. So one of them is corporate bro, fucking dominated, and has been, basically mafia. It's like the mafia fucking state, at least from the old days.
Right.
Except instead of calling in the knee breakers, they call the cops. That's the only difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or you just fucking disappear, much like the mafia. Yeah, I mean, that's not off the fucking table either.
Right.
But yeah, so it's taken 10 years for the actual, grassroots, genuine type of advocate to start owning some of these businesses and stuff, and propagating, the way the whole ethos of the fucking legalized weed movement from the jump. It's fucking freedom to just, freedom. It's a plant, bro.
I already watched what these same mistakes happen by the quote unquote vape community too. That's what's so frustrating about it. Is that the vape community, again, quote unquote, was pretty much developed DIY, right? Like some dude developed those old school mods out of flashlights and all this stuff. So the companies that developed out of that, there was two, branches eventually, and there was all these vape companies that were really expensive and handmade their shit, and mostly in America, mostly in a couple other countries, and then there was the mass-produced in China shit. And as soon as American corporate culture took notice of vaping, Philip Morris came in and bought Juul and made it the most popular one, and then lobbied to ban everything else.
Yep.
Which is not what the vape community that we're all like, bro, we're sharing our ideas together, man, and we're open source and we do it all ourselves. They were not prepared for this. They were not prepared at all. And so they got run out by the corporates. Very few of those OG vape companies exist anymore. Unless they partnered with a Chinese manufacturer.
No, of course not. Of course they don't exist.
Right. And so that's the same thing here is you put your hand in with the state, maybe get to be one of the favored, chosen ones, or, you're a gray market. So we probably won't necessarily arrest you as much as we used to when it was a black market, but we're definitely going to fuck with you. Because you're not playing the game. You're not paying, you're not greasing the palms. You're not, and these people, they advocate for a thing like that, but they're not prepared for the corpo takeover. It happens a lot, actually.
Yeah. So
don't sell your shit to corpos is the best advice. Unless you don't give a shit. If you like whatever your brand or your product or what your idea or whatever it is, if you sell it to the corpo, just know that they're going to desecrate it and then rape its corpse.
Well, the only thing you should buy from a corpo is you should buy the Dogs of War.
Well, that's from an independent author, Sam. It's facilitated by a corpo, but you didn't sell out yet. Don't sell yourself short, Sam.
No, I'm not selling out. I'm not selling out, but like,
not yet.
There are people who don't want to buy the book because it's sold on Amazon. But to those people, I would say, they're just the distributor. I'm the author, so buy the Dogs of War, And why is my camera out of focus again?
Did they censor you at all, Sam?
No.
There you go. That's all you need to know, isn't it?
Yeah. And they pay me 70%, royalty when no one else does. So,
Well, getting print on demand, you could go through another distributor, but it would cost a lot more. So, audience, are you willing to pay like 4 to 5 times the price? I doubt it. Just food for thought.
Yeah, would you rather me charge $11 or $40?
40 something, yeah.
So
oh wait, what's the sandwich makers doing this week? They're gonna make sandwiches, I think. She actually said they're not sure yet, but I think
who's gonna eat the sandwiches?
Well, me, obviously. I like sandwiches.
Hell yeah.
You need sandwiches for the retard meeting.
So.
Well, but nobody comes. I still got this lemon bundt cake, Sam.
Nobody wants to eat that shit.
Well, it's time to get a new one.
Not until somebody eats it.
You could eat it, Max.
I'm on a diet.
You could eat it.
What will happen when all my guests show up, Sam?
Then you have to get
Just
a new
shrink
one.
wrap that bitch and throw it in the mail. I'll eat it.
It's for people to come to the retard meeting. Just because nobody showed up yet doesn't mean anything. You should stop hanging on me.
Today we have internet sandwich number 3 for you and me. Oh, that's why we just wimed it.
Wow, have you been spying on our meetings?
Desperately want somebody to come to this retard meeting.
Of course, it's just me in my basement doing that and responding to my Here's the thing: is when I'm up at the podium and then somebody in the audience interrupts to talk, I gotta run into the audience, interrupt myself, and run back to the podium to respond and run back. It's really exhausting. Somebody just show up. It's a Free Anonymous meeting. Jeez.
You know what, Max? I keep telling you, I don't know how to break this.
I've been doing this. Nobody shows up.
I don't know if you're retarded, Max. I think you might be schizophrenic though. Or have multiple personalities.
He's a retard schizo.
Not multiple personalities. Yeah. Look, the meeting has to go on, okay?
Listen, the Weetard Schizo's a very special wanking group of weetards. Leave Max alone, or I will punish all of you.
You gotta catch me first.
Yeah.
That's the famous retard curse. You guys should be real careful.
I got a supercharger on my fucking wheelchair, buddy. You better watch it.
Yeah. Anyway, though, we're coming up on 2 hours, so I think this is a good time.
2 hours, Sam.
Yeah, 2:03. Yeah.
Well,
roundabout here,
roundabout. I think it's a good time to
straight up lie by 3 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen,
this was Everybody Tortures Sam the episode.
Much like
pretty
at
much.
least once a month. At least once a month. It seems to be every time I'm here. I think we should one of the creative listeners, all 5 of you, you could probably go back and find the handful of times that I've shown up compared to when I wasn't here and see how sleepy Sammy is at the end of the show. Slice it together.
He might have a point, Sam. I've been here through all of them, and it does seem to be a bit of a maybe wrong though, audience.
Yeah,
I don't know, but it does seem to what he says tracks, Sam.
It's just a theory.
Yeah,
it's just a theory. And look, the last show theory has been proven correct now that you can walk. So
Well, she really never said I could walk well. So
That's true.
You
He
know.
didn't.
All right.
That's
Thank you
true.
guys for having me on. Let's kill this bitch so Sammy can fucking wake up and have a normal conversation with us off air, like he does every fucking time.
True.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ellis.
Good
Thank you
night.
for having me as always. Sorry it was late.
Th-
Chat, thank you for coming. Go ahead, Sammy.
Thanks for coming out, folks, and thanks for supporting the books too. And we'll be back
coming
next week.
soon.
So, yeah, that's it. So, anyway, take care, folks.
The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Thank you for watching the Whitfield Report live on the Right to Offend Media Network. Make sure to check out Sam's books on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. You can follow Sam on X at SamW_NGC and the Right to Offend Media Network at RTO Media. Like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And until next time, God bless, God save this great nation. God, freedom, legacy, in that order.